your bones. Feel your bones on the ground. One of the most toxic things that you in your lifetime do with your body is the way you bury it.
What are you going to do with your body when you die?
Why?
I don't even like to think about dying too much.
No.
Our bodies will eventually return to the earth.
You spend your whole life recycling, eating organic food, and then at the end of your life you get embalmed and you go in the ground and you have basically just put several gallons of toxic waste into the soil. We don't have to do it that way.
I want to try it.
Get down here. Pretty nice, isn't it? Green burial improves the way you live, I think.
This week, we're digging into the environmental impact of how we dispose of our bodies and meeting with a Cornell professor to explore some greener ways to go.
Whoa. Halloween decorations are getting so spooky.
I'm not super comfortable with just a bunch of skeletons on the street.
It's weird.
Well, better than if they were embalmed.
Excuse me?
What's that?
Embalming. The billion-dollar industry where we pump corpses full of formaldehyde to preserve their corporeal form. Dying can be one of the most toxic things we ever do.
Do we know you?
You guys didn't take that class in college with me?
No.
Do you want to learn about it?
Yeah?
Let's go.
Today, we got up extra early and we're doing a story that I think will change the way you look at your life and your death. I'm sad to say we do not have Eric with us on this trip. I think I'm going to honor him with this nice stash. It's my first time being able to grow it, so I'm pretty excited.
One of the best courses I took in college was taught by Jane Marie Law. As a religious studies professor dedicated to environmental sustainability, she opened my eyes to the important relationship between our cultural traditions and the health of our planet, particularly when it comes to death.
This is so lovely.
Well, anytime you're in New York and you want to come up here, you're welcome to.
That's Jane Marie. She was nice enough to invite us to her cabin in central New York.
One of the most important things that we study in religious systems is in the process of grief and the burial. One of the questions that I became really interested in is what is the ecological impact of those rituals? And are there ways that we can help people understand and reduce their ecological impact?
Well, I think we're kind of social media experts, if I do say so myself.
That's how I'd qualify us, yeah.
So I think we can crack this. What are some of the difficulties that you've been facing and that we might help you address?
One of the things we can do is educate people about the alternatives that exist to the really very recent, very short-lived practice of embalming. And embalming has a really recent history in the United States from the Civil War, people who needed to get their dead from the battlefields in the South home to the North. But the process of embalming, it's gruesome. I mean, they actually put a tube through your navel and they suck out all your organs and then they stuff them and then they take a vein and they drain out all your blood and they fill it with formaldehyde. Tell me why we need to do this, why we need to keep a body from rotting. From dust we came and to dust we return, you know? We have to really talk about what does it mean to honor somebody. And this is the story that I want to tell you. When my father died, he always said, when I die, I want to be buried in a plain pine box. My sister says, no way am I burying my father in that. So my mother agreed. She was like, I cannot sit there and have people think I don't respect my husband and that we're so cheap. So there's this whole view that what this is an issue of how much you spend on a carcass, on a cadaver, on a dead body. The cemetery and the whole thing cost about $15,000.
Late capitalism.
Yeah, that somehow codes into respect was very troubling to me. So one of my thoughts, as I've been thinking about burial, is that maybe I want to get buried here. And I think it would just be really cool to go up and just lie in some places and think, would this be a nice place to be buried?
Is this where I'd like to hang out for the rest of eternity?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just going to be bones, but
Right.
Can this place hold my bones is what the question. Can this place cradle my bones? Are you cold?
No. I'm good.
Let's just head straight up across.
I felt like I've been living on borrowed time for a long time now, so this is nothing new for me, imagining where I'm going to die.
Right here, right now.
I think I might have put some holes in my leggings.
I don't think we like to think about death very much.
What will it take to destigmatize that?
I think the full-blown denial that we've come to is the problem. Not the fact that our kids don't want to think about the death of their parents, but that we can't think about it enough to make good decisions. Could you imagine having that conversation with your parents?
Did y'all have a nice Thanksgiving?
Great Thanksgiving. All our family here. It was awesome.
Well, Jane Marie asked, so I came home for the holidays and I'm gonna see how comfortable my parents are with the idea of a green burial. Every Great Plain Pine box starts with a blueprint. I think I better check the dimensions. Okay. I really love you, Dad.
Love you too, son.
I'm getting hot. What should I use for the lid? Looks pretty good.
A few moments later.
This episode is destigmatizing the conversation around dying and death. So I'm wondering, what do you want me to do with your corpse when you die?
Huh. I don't need a coffin.
You don't want a coffin?
I don't need a coffin.
Got it. So you guys are on board with not going to a cemetery?
Absolutely. I don't need to be in any cemetery.
Right, no cemetery.
This is good news because I don't know if you knew this, but it costs like $15,000.
Oh, you don't want to pay that?
I feel like we're making some great progress. You guys are more comfortable with this idea of dying.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
I'm not more comfortable.
You're not?
Yeah, I'm not ready yet.
You're not ready to try it out?
To bury myself?
Just hang tight for one moment.
What in the world? Oh my God.
This is the
Okay, he's leaving tomorrow at least.
This is an all-natural plain pine box.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And there's not much to stop the worms from coming in.
Do you want to try it out?
Sure.
He fits.
How does it feel?
It's comfy.
Open your eyes.
For all of eternity.
Hi.
Can we cut? I'm more likely to do a green burial in a coffin now.
So we can assume, given the dates of these graves, that these people were all embalmed. It's designed to delay decay for really only about 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks, that body becomes kind of a toxic soup.
So how much toxic soup do you think we're cooking over here?
There's a lot of formaldehyde in this ground.
In just 10 acres of modern cemetery ground, there's enough wood to build over 40 homes, nearly 1,000 tons of casket steel, 20,000 tons of vault concrete, and enough formaldehyde to fill the backyard swimming pool.
We really have to ask if this amount of land needs to be taken up for a graveyard, if it's possible to do this in a more sustainable way.
So what are the alternatives?
While cremation is the most popular option, the act itself requires more than 2 tanks of gas and results in millions of tons of carbon dioxide emissions per year.
More recently, greener alternatives have arisen, such as the infinity burial mushroom suit, which not only aids in the decomposition process, but works to neutralize the body's toxins while transferring nutrients to the plants.
Driving up, I saw something that I hadn't seen before. An entire field of solar panels right behind the cemetery. Yeah. And it gave me an idea. I want to pitch you a business idea.
A business idea?
This is a business idea.
All right, let's hear your
A potentially multi-million-dollar idea.
Okay.
We have solar panels taking up space. We have tombstones taking up space. Why not combine the two? Why not start tombstones that are solar panels? We could be generating electricity and energy after we die.
That's a very interesting idea. I'm surprised that no one has thought of that.
And now starts our commercial.
Hey there. Are you tired of spending $15,000 on a family member's funeral and not getting anything in return? Well, you're definitely not alone. Here at Second Life Solar, we're helping family members offer some light, even after they're gone. I'm Dougie Daniels, founder and CEO. Here's how it works. Cemeteries are jam-packed with coffins in the ground, which takes up a ton of space. But what if each gravestone was able to produce a little bit of electricity? By using a simple solar panel on each grave plot, your loved ones could produce electricity that powers your own home. It's that easy.
Thanks, Second Life Solar.
No, Kate. Thank your grandmother. Second Life Solar. Shine some light, even after you're gone.
That's maybe not a bad idea. I don't know. I'll let you make the $1 million, okay? And I will cheer you on. One of the principles of conservation burial is you're harnessing the view that people regard the final resting place of the dead as a place that becomes sacred. And so that's the idea behind conservation burial.
Delightful.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here.
Action.
Where are we?
So we are in a place called Green Springs Natural Cemetery. This is a place where you choose to become part of the earth again. This conserves this land from development because it's now a sacred space. I come here often with my students because I want my students to understand this aspect of life and this possibility. These places are not marked in any way, shape, or form, except if you choose to have a stone. And the stone has to be flush against the ground. This is a stone that came out of this field.
And so the gases.
Those are going out into the ground. Yeah.
Isn't a bubble pile.
This isn't going to explode. No, this isn't going to explode. In your act of death, you have the choice to take one final movement toward healing some corner of the planet. And everyone who's buried here is healing the life for one bluebird, one group of insects in the field.
Feeling more comfortable with the idea of becoming a nutritional snack for bluebirds and bugs, we sat down with Jane Marie for one last blessing before heading out into the world to share her wisdom. I think we can get creative.
That's great. I would love to see you get creative and do that. And I also what I would like to say to people is that you never know when you're gonna go. You're 24 or you're 27, but you don't really know what a day can hold. And it's worth thinking about those things with the understanding that your final act can be an act of gift and grace.
We just needed to find some future corpses to indoctrinate. Driving back to New York City, we got lucky. A bunch of skeletons happened to be walking down the street. We're here to meet some dead bodies and see what it's like on the other side. And if people are thinking about a greener way to go.
New York City! Who's ready to die? Anyone? Do you guys ever think about death? No.
You just leave it to my mom.
I'm a cremate.
I want a Viking funeral.
Voodoo doll. Have you thought about what your body is gonna do when it dies?
Nothing, but set it on fire.
Set it on fire.
Excuse me, when it's your time to go, what do you want to do with your body?
Donate it to Elon so he can revive me.
thought at all about what you want to have happen to your body when you die? Science. Science, hell yeah, future educators.
As a nurse, do you have any experience, with the dying?
No nurse experience, no.
And have you ever heard about, the impact that bodies might have in cemeteries and what embalming is?
No. I want to be burned.
There are some greener ways to go. Have you ever heard of any of them?
No.
Burying yourself with mushrooms, perhaps?
Nope.
I don't really want to be put in a box. That feels claustrophobic and also wasteful because...
Wasteful? You've thought of that?
Yeah. The box is going to be in the ground and that's just so wasteful. You can just kind of chuck my body in the field so that it can decompose or something. That would be cool.
In a meadow, your body could be the rich compost that's needed for new insects and birds.
I never thought about that. I'm not sure if I'm on board with any of them. I think I'm still sticking with my original plan.
Cremation.
I just want to be cremated. But what about?
Be in nature.
But it's bad for the environment.
I'm dead.
So everybody else can burn and global warming won't apply to you anymore.
I'm already dead.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope to become a tree one day. I just told my parents I don't want any grave. I just want the land.
No grave, no embalming.
No. Nothing.
Dude, yeah.
I still believe we have time. We just need to change things. So just stop watching and start acting.
So, what will it take for some of the greener ways to go to become status quo?
Solina, how are you?
Sutton, Eric, how are you?
We've got all this information. We've talked to people on the street. We've learned about some of these alternatives. How do we go about getting people to actually pay attention and think about incorporating it into their own life?
The way to have an impact with this is to have people write down and have there be a written statement. And so I thought that the exercise of making a will is interesting. Then that the excitement's bubbling up out of you.
I'm fermenting inside.
This webinar or this Zoom meeting is sponsored by Topo Chico.
How old are people when they usually write wills?
Old.
Probably after you get married and have children. What if we just start a movement?
Are you tired of wondering what's going to happen to your beautiful bod after you die? You're not alone. That's why it's more important than ever to let your loved ones know what they should do with your body after you pass on. And here at Wormhole, we want to lend a hand with that. Right now, you can visit our website to fill out the body disposition form. From there, we'll email you a nifty certificate that you can send to your friends and family.
You've got mail.
And then, if people do it and they show us they wrote their will, we'll send them a badge.
You look at your driver's license and everyone has whether or not they're an organ donor on their driver's license.
Right.
And so it could be as simple as a small sticker that we start sending people when they complete their will. And it's maybe that's the badge of honor that says, hey, whether or not I die tomorrow or next year or in 20 years, I've got this sticker on my driver's license that indicates what I want to happen with my body.
We want to hear what more people plan on doing with their bodies when they die. So use this TikTok sound.
What are you going to do with your corpse when you die?
And share their responses with this hashtag.
Well, I was not expecting you to ask me that. I want to be cremated, and I also want a gravestone. Those people can visit my gravestone. So it's kind of an expensive funeral.
What are you going to do with your corpse when you die?
I want to be wrapped in mushrooms. I've eaten so much food in my lifetime, I'd like to give something back.
Ideally, I'd want to be nutrients for a plant. Preferably, cherry blossom or a grape fruit plant.